Hello skaters, welcome to the new episode of Vik's Skate School. Today I suited up in this Rollerblade aero suit because we are gonna go fast. I'm going to teach you how to start the fastest way possible at an inline competition or race. There's a few different ways, so we're gonna go through those, and I'm also gonna teach you how the start process is actually gonna be when you're at an inline skating competition, if it happens to be your very first. It is a little hectic. You're gonna be pretty tight in the starting box depending on what race. Even if it's a track race with just few competitors, you will still want to stay pretty close to each other so that you can either be in first line or second line or so on. Same goes if it's a marathon. It's going to be a big bunch, and obviously everybody wants a nice position to get in a good group right from the start, so it's also going to be tight. Therefore, some of these starts might be better if it's a pack race, and some of them might be better if you're a smaller group with more space, but we'll come back to that later. For now, let's take a look at the starts. So to demonstrate this, I found this nice white line, which is how it usually looks at skating competitions. Depends which race, of course. If it's a marathon, you might be so far down the pack that you can't even see the line because it's full of people in front of you. But let's imagine the example where this could be a track race, a point race, elimination, or even a sprint, a 500 meter or a 1 lap plus where you're multiple skaters on the line. So the way it goes is that the judge is going to give you the different positions. Could be based on just random, or it could also be based on your position in the general classification if there's multiple races at the event. So you'll be called to the line, everybody's lined up, and then it will go very fast from the moment where the judge says ready to go. So often if you see this on a recorded video or on TV with no sound, it almost looks as if it's single motion when called to the line and they're going. So imagine it to be a bit like this. People ready. The judge will walk aside. From the moment the judge is outside of the track, that is where you will have to be on guard, because everything, well, most likely to start, can happen from that point and on. So when you're in that position, remember the skaters on both sides of you. So you can't be like that, and you also can't be like that. You will be limited to very little space and can't move to the sides. Also, this wouldn't be really smart because you want to go forward, so you want to generate power in that position. So judge goes away, and the track is yours, and there will be set, ready, go, and you'll skate. So there's a few different ways for you to position yourself. What we want here is both. There's two things you have to take into account. First, go as fast as you can, obviously. Second thing is also to be ahead of your competitors, because if the fastest way that you would be able to go is a very short and slow first step, you might be blocked because we're going to be so tight. So if you start like this, well, if the person to your right starts like this and puts this skate right out in front of you, as you can see here, your skate is lifted over a hockey start and his skate goes like that, well, you're already behind and blocked by that first step. So not just you racing against yourself, you got to make sure that you get a good position, the right position, right from the first step. Therefore, there's different ways of doing it. Personally, I grew up with the hockey start, which is the one I just demonstrated. Try not to lift my leg too far off the ground, but keeping it compact. The reason I like to do this start is because you have this leg behind. So it creates some counter weight, so you allow yourself to really lean towards where you're headed. So having this leg behind, as you can see, I can lean forward and I can really just do a one leg squat, jump off with that leg and get out there. The downside, of course, is that there'll be a lot of twisting. Position is going to point that way, so when you do your first step, it's obviously going to over rotate and you won't be pointing perfectly straight. It's going to be a bit of loss of speed there. Also, if it's a tight box, well, you're going to be limited to how far you can get this out, and it might be a little uncomfortable, which is why some people prefer the ice skating looking start, where you simply go down like this, ready, go, and push forward. This allows you to get out in front of the line immediately. You put tension on the rear leg, so this goes out and flips right away. Get you going in the right direction, no twisting, duk, duk, duk. If you happen to do this start, make sure that you got this arm behind so that your arms are already coordinated with how your legs are gonna go. Otherwise you have to dial in that after, and that's also gonna be loss of speed, loss of time. So the good thing about this, you can really load the rear leg because you got this one as the counterbalance. So unlike the other one where this is the counterweight out here, that allows you to lean even beyond the line. Well, in this one, it's the opposite. This holds you back, so this gets a tension, almost spring-like effect that can just throw you out there. And finally, some skaters like to do what I'm going to explain in my next episode of Vic Skate School, a more TT-like start, where they start like this. And this is perfect in the way that you're pointing straight where you want to go, and you're basically already skating. You'll be running forward, which is how you want to do a start, of course. The downside about this, there is not that same counter weight, counter move. So you can't load as much, because if you load just a little forward or put tension on your legs, you're gonna roll away. Something to play around with. This can also be done in the opposite way. If you mirror everything, having the right leg out in front, still I did it, same with this. But if you're not at the point where you already have one of these that you practice for hundreds of years, then I really recommend, probably the best advice in this video, to do everything so that if there's an incline coming from the right, you are ready to stand against that. Because when you do starts on a track, they happen to very often be inclined towards the left, especially if they are in the turn or just before the turn. So as you may notice here, if I stand like this, I can lean forward and I can control it. If the incline comes like this, I'll be leaning up towards it, so I'm not going to roll backwards because my feet are pointing like this. However, if I do this way and the incline comes from there, well, I'm going to roll off. Same goes for all of these starts. Stand like this, you can lean towards the incline coming from there. Stand like this, oh, it's going to be a little difficult not rolling off with that leg. And especially in the next episode when we get into the time trial starts, this is a lot easier than this if the incline comes from the right. So you pick your start, you play around with them. A lot of this also comes down to what feels the most natural to you, because even though another start theoretically might be better for you, or in any case, well, whatever you practiced a million times is just going to be a lot easier, and it's just going to be natural. There's not going to be a delay in movement. Response time is going to be better, so sometimes the second best start can be the best start for you. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If there's questions on how to do starts, which starts to do, and when to do them, you will just leave a comment below and I'll come back to you with a good answer. Next episode is the time trial start, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. I'm Viktor Thorup.